So what are we cooking today?
We are cooking a traditional Cape Malay dish today, Bobotie. Traditionally it's made with ground beef or ground lamb, topped with an egg custard. However, today I am doing a vegetarian Bobotie. And I think this dish is an amazing representation of what Cape Malay culture is all about. When the slaves settled here, they came from countries or colonies like Malaysia, Indonesia, East and West Africa, Madagascar, Sri Lanka. When people come together and live that closely together, there was obviously a fusion of the ingredients, obviously a fusion of their cultures, and that gave rise to Cape Malay cuisine. Our flavors are not spicy, sweet, sour, perfect balance between sweet, sour, savory, salty, and a little bit of heat. If you feel that you want a little bit more heat, we have condiments in forms of sambals, which is also very, it's obviously sambals are Indonesian, and I'm a Cape Malay of Indonesian descent. I love sambals. It accompanies every meal. And I'm excited to show you this dish today.
Cool. So let's start cooking.
So the thing about Cape Malay Bobotie is it's generally made on the stove first. It takes like 5 to 7 minutes. And today, because my lentils are pre-cooked, it's going to go even quicker. But once we've got our Bobotie mixture here, I'm going to decant it into my bowl, and then it goes into the oven. Most of the work gets done in the oven. It'll just bake, so it's fuss-free, simple, etc. So I'm always going to start with a little bit of oil and then a little bit of onion. Some onions going to go in it, and then garlic and ginger. So remember, this is not like a typical curry style dish, but the ginger goes very well with the spices that we are using today. When that starts cooking, I'm going to add a little bit of chopped tomato, and this is the star of the show. Remember, I spoke about sweet and sour. So you'll always find vinegar, and you'll find a little bit of either apricot preserve or jam, or a sweet chili chutney. So slaves used apricots and fruits and vinegars a lot to preserve their meats and to preserve their fruits in the absence of refrigeration, and hence today we're still cooking with that.
It's like a little bit what we do in Germany with our vinegar. So we use the acidity of the vinegar and then a lot of fruity components and some spices as well, which ends up like a kind of chutney but just in liquid form.
Exactly, chutney. And so we also have a chutney, and we call it blatjang, but you're right, apricots or even stewed guavas but vinegar. And it gives that sweet and sour flavor. Something's happening here now, so that's what I want. I've got a little bit of oil, garlic and ginger, and now all of a sudden we should be smelling that.
If you're hungry, if you smell it.
And then I'm going to add a little bit of tomato, and then the sweet and sour. And you can see that I'm not cooking this a lot. Under normal circumstances, when you are braising onions, you want to either caramelize it or make it translucent, but remember, it's going to cook in the oven. So vinegar and a little bit of chutney. So once that is in, this is the basis of your Bobotie. So if you were cooking the traditional beef style Bobotie, you would add your beef to that. But we are cooking lentils and butternut. You could also use pumpkin. The other side, I have the rest of the ingredients. So the one thing that's going to go in is I've got cooked lentils, I've got butternut, I've got my mix of spices, but I see you brought a lovely cake. I'm really excited to try that. It looks absolutely amazing. I'm excited to try that. And then I've got a selection of goji berries, sultanas. You could even use, once again, the dried apricots. You could use it, but this just lends. I just love the goji berries because it's so healthy. And then an absolute must, I've taken some bread and I've soaked it in a little bit of water, and that's almost going to bind it. So if you want wheat free, of course you can do that. But remember, lentils, it's not like ground beef that's going to hold together, but traditionally this is what they did. And I also think it's a way of bulking up the meal. So the Cape Malay slaves had to be very innovative in terms of feeding many mouths. So you would take like 2 or 3 day old bread. We don't waste anything. So you would soak it in water, put it in there, like making meatballs almost. Okay. So it really just binds it.
Taking all the leftovers from the kitchen and making it tasty.
So I would, under normal circumstances, I've got some curry powder, and curry powder is not to make a curry. This is actually a masala. A masala is actually a combination of spices that gives a particular flavor, and this one lends itself to sweet and sour flavor. So we would use this in pickled fish, Penang curry, that's all sweet and sour, yes. And this lovely bright one here is an organic turmeric. I've also got some cumin, coriander, very important, some ground mixed spice, some fine ginger, once again cinnamon, brown sugar. Of course, you can use a little bit of honey if you wanted to. And then the tiniest bit of chili powder. And this is my normal spice mix, but I'm excited to try this today.
I think nearly everything's in our recipe as well.
Yeah. So the next thing that I would do here is actually to add this. Smells absolutely amazing. So
It's not casting.
I'm going to add that to my mixture, and I'm going to stir that. You can pass me the lentils next. So this is just brown lentils that are pre-cooked. They're a little bit al dente, almost still have a little bit of kick to them. And then the butternut, cooked butternut. Cooked. Yeah. Cooked butternut. And then what I love about this dish, the amazing color. So you could put any vegetable that you want to, but I've just learned to love the flavor of lentil with butternut, sweet and sour. And then of course I'm gonna add a little bit of love, some salt. And then I need the bread.
There you go.
The bread. So you'll see the minute you add the bread to this dish, it'll start coagulating almost, you know? And then this is the bobotie mixture. And now I'm going to add all this love to it. I absolutely love these little pops of sweet and sour. So goji berries are sour, the raisins are sour, but the sultanas, the golden sultanas, are like sweet. Yeah. So there, once again, you get that sweet and sour.
Do you also put figs in? Sometimes there's fig.
You can put figs as well.
Because figs, I think, are very similar to sultan.
Absolutely. I've even put dates in here. I've put apricots in here. And then, of course, if you wanted to, you could just leave it out. But you could put fresh fruit in here. Absolutely
so
amazing.
I think there is no typical, like 100% recipe that you always have to do.
Every household,
about playing around.
Yeah, it's about playing. As long as you have your spice mix almost, and that there's the vinegar, the apricot jam, lends itself to that sweet and sour flavor. And this is it, my friend. That's it. I'm going to decant it into a little bowl like this. You smell that? Really yummy. And then what I've got here, very important, I've got a little egg custard that I'm doing. So this is literally just scrambled egg. I have made this once before for somebody that's vegan, and I put mashed potatoes over it, sweet potato. So you could do that. But what I have here is egg, salt and pepper, and a tiniest bit of milk. So it's almost like an omelette kind of.
But you don't put any spices in there?
Nothing. Because remember, there's a lot of spice happening here. So I would simply just cover that, like that. The flavors of the bobotie is the sweet. There's a lot happening. And I think that the egg almost just brings everything together. And then very important, once again, that typically kind of spice that we would use to pickle. So bay leaves and allspice and cloves are things that we use in pickling vegetables, etc. So I just think it makes it look pretty as well. So you can see how quickly that went. So I would take this and I would simply put this in the oven, and it would go for about 15 to 20 minutes. Okay. And yeah, and that's it.
So you did already a preparation, so we have a final one which has already been made. Do you serve it with a side dish as well?
I serve it with sweet yellow rice or saffron rice, and then any vegetable that you want. I just love carrots or zucchini or even eggplant, even more butternut squash, and that's it. And then of course the sambal. The condiment is always present.
So let's see where Patty is, and let's eat, huh?
Yeah, cool. Thank you.